y'all, welcome back to Spirit of the Outdoors. We have been really busy last several days, hadn't got a lot of videos out, and right now I'm working feverishly to try to get some stuff ready for a show that I've got to do next week. Gonna be at the Big Buck Bounty Wildlife Extravaganza in Carthage, Mississippi at the Coliseum. They invited me to be there. They're going to give me a table to set up, and I'm trying to have some knives. We're going to have some pottery. I've got some hats in from Joey. I got a few things I'm just going to set up for display to look at, and I don't know exactly what's what, but I'm just working on a lot of projects. Yesterday we went and delivered pottery, met Miss Alicia Stringer. Went by and met Kevin Ferguson. Kevin Ferguson gave me a rack to go on the back of my truck to haul my electric bike. He knew I was wanting to deer hunt with it and blessed me with that. So thank you to both of y'all for gifts and what y'all give us. Miss Alicia had Brody a box full of goodies, and us as well. So we were on the road all day yesterday. The Monday, we were trapping all day, and then I come in and I worked a little bit, but we've had a lot going on, a lot of events, a lot of fun stuff we've been doing. So I'm just now getting into the shop. Well, for the sake of videos, I don't really have like a one single project we're doing. I am diving right now deep back into the frontier style stuff that I want to do. I'm not pushing knife orders right now. I'm trying to make some one-of-a-kind stuff. Some of it I am dabbling off into cleaning up some material that I had left over. This was a knife blank that it was made a little different. Somebody had already drilled holes in it. Somebody had already partially ground it. So I am finishing grinding it, and then I had this really wonky deer antler that had this gnarly stuff sticking out, but it wasn't a point, it was just gnarly knots all on one side. I have slicked that down, and I'm going to figure out how to put those two together to make a knife. I'm working on some Jonah knives. I'm working on some orders, stuff people have already paid for. Just trying to get some stuff done. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to film some bits and pieces of this, that, and the other. Not no complete knife making videos. However, as we go into this winter, there is going to be a lot of complete knife builds start to finish as I start making one-of-a-kind type stuff. I'm wanting to forge. I'm wanting to blacksmith out blades. This piece of steel right here I've started, I'm going to make a hide scraper out of this. I'm going to make me a new flashing knife. A lot of tools like that, I'm going to try to blacksmith stuff I have never made. So it will be you watching me learn some things, not a, hey, I'm teaching you how to do something professionally. So, you know, a lot of people get confused and say, oh, well, you didn't do that right. Well, no, I'm probably not going to do a lot of things right. But I will get them done, we'll get it accomplished, and we'll make them work. And I can back up and adjust things as I need to. That is the beauty of learning new stuff. It's way more fun diving off into trying to make stuff you've never made before than it is. Like the Jonah knife, I love making a Jonah knife. And I'm getting fairly good at it because I've made so many of them over and over and over, and I still mess up. There's still some things. I have ordered this tomahawk blade. I ordered it on eBay. It is not very good. You see how blunt that is. But nevertheless, I'm going to put it in this handle. I've cut me a notch with a bandsaw, but I've got to really work on that. I don't have time to do that right now. We're going to forge a bunch more tomahawks. Got a lot of plans of stuff going on. I do have another bow over here somewhere that I am slowly working on, filming on. I've got some footage of this, and I've got it to where I'm ready to start, not tillering, but shaping it down. I cut most of it out with the bandsaw. So I want to go show you the bike rack that I got. So y'all, this is a bike rack right here. Mash them buttons on the side of this, and this lets out. Bike sits on there, and I need to go get it and see. I reckon on how to put it on there. I have not had it on there yet. And I don't know, some people realize how big these electric bikes are. These things can be quite heavy. So, Goes into there. Alright, so now we have to adjust these in and out. And they are adjustable over here. I have been looking at this some. I haven't. Oh. Think that is. And I may take some of them off. I don't know. And then this, y'all, it is fairly straightforward. That comes down and locks that in right there, okay? So it's pretty well there. Right, these. I ain't exactly sure how that goes. Like that, I would assume. Yeah. That kind of holds that. That is the way that works. I'm learning, I'm telling you, I'm learning. But I just wanted to see how well this thing worked. And I'm sure that goes under that other, and then might as well do it right for the demonstration, huh? Because somebody will scold me if I don't. That's what will happen. There you go. Now it works. So y'all, that is secure. Ain't going nowhere. Ain't bouncing off. I need to lower this down some more and tighten it up good. And it has a key to lock it some way or another. What y'all think? So with this now, I'm able to at least go hunt and stuff. Now when I have to go feed and all, obviously we'll be taking the buggy back over there back and forth. But just going hunting, this will be the way that I go do that. Possibly some other adventurous stuff that we want to go do on the bike and use the bike for. Now I've got a way to haul it, because I'm going to be honest with you, putting it up in the back of that truck, it filled that truck up. And not to mention, you're laying it over on all these electronic things that I ain't cheap to replace if you damage it. So this is the best way to do that. So diving forward, I've got a gun sheath that I'm gonna mount on the side of this right here. And then I'm probably gonna tell y'all what I got on my mind. Thinking about making what the Indians would have called a parfletch. Basically some saddlebags out of like buckskin, because I've got some older buckskins that are a little stiff when I was first learning to tan, that I want to use on here and make a bag out of, and they'll be like a saddle bag, but they'll be buckskin. So we can dress this thing up a little bit our style. Talking about going forward, we're gonna do a bunch of hide tanning and stuff hopefully this year. I want to try to perfect my hide tanning to where I can start making things out of the furs and stuff like that. So last year I wanted to, and I didn't have the time to do it because I was trying to get the knife shop going. Now we've pretty well got everything built on it and done. So as soon as this week is over and we have all the deer patches planted and the deer count work done and the stands set, then I will be at a place, I think, that I can back off and be like, okay, now we can slow down and enjoy. So I'm looking forward to that, but I've putting up new stands and adding new deer patches and all that has been a little challenging for getting everything set up. So anyway, let's get in the shop and get some stuff finished. So I have started another Jonah, and before I temper it, I need to fit and drill the scales, and I got some black walnut right here. And the knife is going to have a little more grinding on that bottom, but I can do that later. Alright, that one is done, going that way. Actually, that is going to be that way. We need to do this one this way. I drew it on the wrong side, but it won't matter as long as it's fitted. I want that slick side against my blade. The side that I cut with a bandsaw, I want away from the blade. That way, if there's any gaps or anything in there, it won't matter. Just my technique, my way. All right, we got them drew out. So I go ahead and draw both scales out. Now, if I'm going to be putting liners as I did that one, I've about learned, and I ain't got no liner material in here, but say this was, you better off to go ahead and glue that to your block and let it cure, and then cut it out together. I have discovered that. Let's go cut this out. Now we mark where we want our holes for our pins. And y'all like eyeball everything. So if I'm putting a lanyard, I put the lanyard here and put the third pin in the center. When I'm just doing two pins, I try to kind of evenly space them so they're different. Which makes it not feasible to later add a lanyard and it look right. You can add the lanyard, but don't look right. Just drill that out. Turn the light on. Or turn it around, it was already on. Drilled a bunch of holes in that. What this sacrifice board does is a lot not to bust out on the back side, really. So I like to drill these holes before I temper and all that. It's just easier on my drill bit. All right, I went and sharpened that drill bit, and I hand sharpen all of my drill bits. The last piece of steel I was drilling. One day I'll do a video on hand shark because you see the difference in that. And I did that free-handed. I did not use a tool. Most of y'all men can do that though, I think. I think everybody knows how to do that. This steel, before it is tempered and all, I mean just raw, it is very hard steel. So that is why I use it to make my knives. So y'all, I take my pins and I round off, taper one end of them. I don't taper this end, I leave it just cut raw, but that way it goes through easier. So what I do right now is take them, get them started. Once they sticking out a little bit, you can line them up really easy. Ah, now. Then you ground this one. I just round it. You can put any design you want, flat, square, angled. I mean, the sky's the limit. You can pick it up there. I went in there and eat me a piece of chicken I had left over. I've got to do something with this beaver hide. I've had it laying on this table salting. So this salt, people don't realize this is good fertilizer for that fig tree. Mr. Jack Joyman's the one turned me on to that. So I'm gonna take this salt, and I don't know if that's still any good for drawing out moisture, if it dries out or what. So I'm gonna dump some of it back in this can, and we're gonna see what happens with it. If I can figure out how to do this and keep it on camera. All right, now, I don't know if y'all can see what I'm doing or not. I'll try to get right here, but I know all of these leaves. All right, it don't matter if a little bit stays on there. I've got to work on getting this tan. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna throw this into a pickle bath. And it needs some thinning, so I'm gonna do probably gonna thin it after I pickle it, I don't know. It needs to stay in a pickle for a couple of days. I'm just kind of going over this, y'all, around these edges. I'm not really putting a lot of attention to detail in here because of the fur being the time of year that I caught this. It's not cold enough for it to be prime, so I'm not worried if I get a hole or something, you know what I mean. It already, and the reason is I had to rush through skinning it because of the flies and stuff, but I am going to tan it. It is going to make decent leather. It just may not make a pretty fur, you know what I mean? But I'm one of the things I'm doing is I'm sort of practicing some of my methods. So it'll be good for that. Helping me learn what I can and can't do this time of year, such as that. Making me a pickle here. We're going to put about a cup. I'm going to get about half of this. This is aluminum sulfate. You can use vinegar, you can use pickling lime, there's several different things, or citric acid. Now I need some salt. Let me go get me some salt. All right, y'all, I thought I was recording, but my phone had cut off. I put some salt in there, and I put about 2 of these of salt, and I got my hide in here, and we're gonna let it pickle for about 2 days. And I'm just updating you on what's going on. The reason I am fooling with that is it's supposed to rain, and I had to get it off that table out there. So that can sit in there. Once it gets in that pickle, I'm good with the heat and all for a couple of days. So get that floated back up. You have to put that brick on there to keep it. So I got a lot of arranging I got to do out here on this part too. All right, I got this rounded off over there. My phone, it had cut off one time because of the too much storage filled up. You have to go to deleting everything off. Well, I deleted a bunch of stuff. I forgot to delete the recently deleted, so it played a little bit and then quit again, you know. Well, we finally got everything regulated. Let's get this one tempered. We've got this ready to go on there. We're not gonna do lanyard and all that stuff. Blade's ready to go. Let's quench it. I worked this down pretty good. We're gonna see how it looks. I'm gonna find my specialty tool right here. I think I'm gonna have to take it off and take down. I've got a little bit of a gap right here. And there's fitting my bolster. I need to close that gap up just a little bit. It almost looks like it'll go. I'm gonna tap it a little more. I believe I got it. I believe I got it good enough. Like that. So what we're looking at now is this right here. It's gonna be pretty good size for a skinning knife. It is what it is. This handle was rough, had a bunch of junk on it I had to clean up, so I don't know. We're gonna have to drill a hole in it, do some epoxy. I'm doing some finish grinding on this blade, and I'm having to free grind it like I used to do. You have to keep that blade cool. You got to keep it straight. Oh, y'all thought I did everything with a jig, didn't you? Not so. Not so. You have to have way more than just one skill to be successful. But now when you holding your thumb up there on that blade, you got to keep it cool too. Next thing is, a lot of people do this with pre-tempered blades. They finish. Which is what mine used to be. Now I am tempering most of them. Depends on what steel you got. Got warm. It was getting warm. Could get a little more. trick is getting these 2 points right here lined up. That is what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to bring this side back just a little bit. All in pressure. When you get over there, you got to put a little more pressure in that area. We're just about there. Working on one of these Jonahs right here with a sycamore, shaping the handle. I finished up a Caleb off camera, so I have soaked it, sanded it one time, and I'm letting that oil just soak in. I spent a good bit of time fitting this. Now this is not glued on right now, but I have got it somewhat fit, and I'm trying to decide if I like it. Because it's right now or never to whether I want to move all of this forward, all the way, you know, bring it on up to here. I think would look better, but I don't know. I'm going to see. But I've quit fooling with it. I polished on it. I have done heat treated it and all of that. It is ready to be glued together if I'm happy with it, which it's still got some polishing on that blade to do, but I was tired of working on it, so I laid it down and started. I got to shape these. I need to get them done. Because I've got to have all of these, which this one has to go in the mail. I've got 2 laying here that's got to go in the mail, and then one's going to be one that I take with me. So I need to make a couple of them. We'll see what we get done. I would have plenty time to make what all I need to make if it wasn't for all the stuff I need to go to the deer camp and do this week. It has finally started sprinkling rain today, but it has not rained much at all. So I don't know if we're going to get any rain to amount to anything or not. Watch that, it is hard, and I have a thing to clamp that blade in, but I don't like it. It flexes too much. I get a better shape with this solid like this, so that's why I do it that way. But I get my rough shape down like this. And then I go to the belt sander to smooth everything up. some hand finish sanding on this. You ain't even looking. Y'all looking off over yonder somewhere. I don't even know what y'all interested in off over yonder. But I get it pretty well roughed out, and I do a pretty good job of sanding it. And then I soak it with oil, and after that oil soaks in overnight, or however long I decide to let it soak in, then I come back and re-sand it. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. And I may change oil that I use here before too awful long, because I've got a formula that I'm gonna try out that is an oil. I like the wax and stuff right before I ship it off, a final deal, but something thin that'll soak into this, because a lot of this wood, after it gets wet and this, that, and the other, and has been used and all by somebody, it will shrink. I mean, it's a natural material if it stays out in the elements, and I intend for my knives to be used. They're not decorative pieces. I don't necessarily try to make artwork out of them. I'm going to make some artwork knives that are more for put it on a shelf and look at it type stuff in the future. Right now, I want to put knives in the hands of people that need a good skinning knife, something they can tote on their side, work, do whatever they need to do with it. That's what I want to do. So I've got this one, this purple heart with this yellow liner. That is going to be a beautiful knife. I've got to get started on it, but I don't know that I have time today. I need to get this one. I think it is still, the temper is still running on it, so I don't know. I got to figure out what I want to do with this one. What do y'all think about it? I'm gonna leave this one alone till this video's over. Y'all tell me, should I shorten the blade up? In other words, should I pull it out of here and grind this so that I can, in other words, drop it to about right there? I'm leaning towards doing that, y'all. I got a lot of work in fitting this to where it's at right now, but I don't know. This would get, I mean, you could get further up in a deer with it like it is, you know, skinning. It would reach a little bit further in the crevice of, so it would have a benefit to that being a hair longer, and I may leave it alone for that purpose. The handle is a little bit big, but I needed that straight section to put this into. So we're going to leave it alone. Y'all tell me what you think. We're going to conclude this video. We filmed enough odd and end stuff to make a video. Thank y'all for watching The Spirit of the Outdoors. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.